What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Cinema Essentials. The series we're presenting today is the famous and beloved Prison Break series that has been popular among movie audiences since around 2009 and continues to this day. Currently, it has been broadcast up to Season 5 with a total of 90 episodes. The episode is called Cell Test. It's about testing how much trust Scofield can gain from Sucre, the cellmate who's most crucial to the prison break operation. That's why it's called Cell Test. Season 1 Episode 3 aired on Fox Network on September 5, 2005. Alright, let's get started with Season 1 Episode 3. I'm Theo, your host for this recap. Scofield gets his toe cut off for not answering Abruzzi's question. When the guards arrive after hearing screams, they find Scofield with his toe severed. The guards immediately take Scofield to the infirmary for emergency treatment. Sara also tells the guards she'll take responsibility and dismisses them. When Sara sees the severed toe and asks Scofield what happened, he doesn't tell her the truth. Sara gives the medical records to Bellick and says they need to investigate. But Bellick says they already know what happened, no investigation needed. Bellick lies to Sara, telling her that Scofield's toe was cut when he stepped on a large saw blade used for cutting trees. When Lincoln Burrows finds out that Abruzzi cut his brother's toe, he explodes with rage. He's furious enough to kill, but Scofield tells him to stay calm and explains that if they kill Abruzzi, they'll lose a crucial piece for escaping prison. Scofield explains that there's a small airfield about 10 miles from the prison where small aircraft land and take off, and it's managed by one of Abruzzi's front companies. Therefore, they need Abruzzi in their escape plan to get out by plane. Most importantly, they need to win over Sucre, the cellmate, to their side. Lincoln says Sucre is a thief and a two-faced bastard who can't be trusted. Scofield argues that since Sucre is his cellmate, they have to trust him, and they can only dig in their cell if Sucre is on board. If they can't dig, there's no prison break. Sucre, just released from segregation, immediately calls his girlfriend Marie-Cruz, but her aunt answers the phone. The aunt tells him that Marie-Cruz is currently shopping at the mall with Hector. When Sucre says how much he loves Marie-Cruz, the aunt tells him that if he really loves her niece, he should let her live her own life. Sucre is heartbroken and sits in his cell looking at her photo. While Sucre is heartbroken, Scofield is thinking about testing his plan called Cell Test. T-Bag casually goes to the prison workshop and looks for a weapon from a workshop supervisor he knows. After getting the weapon he wants, T-Bag gently slips it between the pages of a book and takes it away. When Veronica visits Scofield in prison and asks about his injury, Scofield asks who the woman was that Veronica met. When she says Letitia Barris, Scofield says he knows her and that Veronica is investigating now just like he investigated for the truth a year ago. He tells her it's like an unsolvable abyss. When she knows the truth, Lincoln will probably be dead. Calculating from the final appeal date, Lincoln has only 60 days left to live. So Scofield has decided whether to just sit and watch his brother die or get in there and do what he can. Aldo Burrows is released on probation and must follow the youth rehabilitation program's arrangements and participate in programs at Fox River. Lincoln Burrows is chosen as his counselor. While working with Sucre, Scofield deliberately shows him a cell phone from his pocket, wraps it in a cloth, and stuffs it into a box in the wall where Sucre can see. When Sucre asks excitedly if he can call any time, Scofield says coldly that he doesn't like Sucre's look and words, and tells him to forget he ever saw what's in that box. The warden visits Lincoln and asks why he didn't write anyone's name on his final visitor list. Lincoln asks back why he should let anyone watch him die. The warden says he's seen many cases like this in his life, and most people want family members there. Lincoln stubbornly says he wants to be alone, but the understanding warden leaves the paper for him to fill out when he changes his mind. Veronica visits Letitia Barris again. When she asks a little girl on the stairs which room Letitia lives in, the girl answers room 5. Veronica tells Letitia not to be afraid and that there's no need to run away. She can come to her office and tell everything she knows about Lincoln's case. During yard time, Lincoln sees Sucre bragging to his friends that he has a cell phone and can call anytime. When Lincoln returns to his cell, he asks Bellick for extra time outside for the next 2 weeks. Bellick asks if he's going crazy from the fumes in the workshop. Lincoln counters by asking if cell phones are allowed in prison. When Bellick asks who has one, offering a week and a half of extra time plus a pack of cigarettes, Lincoln asks for the name. Abruzzi's partner Philly arrives and asks if the Fibonacci search is unusual. He says if Fibonacci testifies, he and Abruzzi will be in adjacent cells. Abruzzi throws a tissue box to Philly and tells him about Scofield's toe injury and that Scofield won't talk. Suddenly, Philly brings up Abruzzi's 2 children, making Abruzzi's face change. Philly shows the kids and threatens Abruzzi. Bellick calls Sucre and starts talking about massage parlors, then tells him to hand over the hidden cell phone if he wants to continue conjugal visits. With no choice, Sucre decides to show Bellick where Scofield hid the phone. When Sucre approaches Scofield and Lincoln while they're working, followed by Bellick, surprisingly, Sucre doesn't reveal the location. Instead, Sucre asks Scofield to let him use the phone whenever he wants to call, but Scofield calmly gives him the phone, saying there will be difficulties. What? Is it made of soap? I traded my conjugal visits for soap. Sucre explodes. Scofield tells him he lost conjugal visits, but he'll take him to see Maricruz, then tells Sucre about the prison break plan. When Sucre asks how they'll break out, Scofield explains they'll start digging from their cell. While Sucre and Scofield are talking, Lincoln quietly picks up pieces of the soap cell phone and pockets them. Sucre gets tense and says, "Do you think I'm crazy? In 16 months, I'll be free from here, legally and peacefully. Then I'll marry my girl Maricruz. I won't need a do not catch sign on my ass. Now, because of your crazy plan, I've lost my conjugal visit privileges. I need to know how reliable you are," Scofield says. "All right, I've told you while I'm here, if you dare to dig in the cell, go ahead and dig. I'll crack your head open," Sucre angrily tells Scofield. Letitia Barris comes to Veronica's office to share what she knows. Lincoln owes Crab $90,000, and they gave this money to Crab. When Crab got the money, he came smiling. From the moment those people arrived, it wasn't quite right. They were different government types, acting like they owned the place. Letitia tells Veronica. While Veronica is typing and saving this information, Letitia says she's going out to smoke and leaves the room. When Scofield returns to the infirmary for medication, Sara tells him that if prisoners are abusing each other, he should tell her and she'll report it upstairs. She also says his current injury couldn't have been caused by stepping on a saw blade. Scofield tells her there's no need to write a report and that doing so would only make things worse. Veronica asks if it's okay for Letitia to smoke, then is shocked to discover that the person she thought was Letitia is actually Secret Service agent Paul Kellerman. Kellerman says if the silent records can prove Lincoln's innocence, he wants to help. Veronica thanks him for coming forward and asks for his business card. When Veronica notices that Letitia hasn't returned from smoking, she goes to check the smoking area, but Letitia is gone. She runs outside looking, but doesn't find Letitia. She only sees Kellerman getting into a black car and driving away. Abruzzi and his cellmate look towards Scofield's cell and talk about cutting both legs. But Abruzzi says cutting legs won't work. When Scofield returns to his cell, Sucre is packing all his belongings. Scofield asks what he's doing. Sucre says he won't be part of Scofield's mess anymore, and that if the guards find the hole they've been digging, he won't see his girlfriend for another 5 years. Despite Scofield's pleas not to leave, Sucre finishes packing and leaves to change cells. In the dining hall, Teabag is holding a knife to Scofield's neck. Just as Scofield is about to get up, Abruzzi arrives and stops Teabag, arranging to talk at the dining hall exit. Teabag says he can get revenge with Abruzzi's help and approaches Scofield, saying, "You look scared," but Abruzzi silently elbows Teabag and beats him up with his followers. Then Abruzzi apologizes to Scofield for treating him roughly, but Scofield says, "You're quite the quick change artist." Walking in the prison yard, Abruzzi asks Scofield what he wants from him. Scofield says he needs the plane, and in exchange, he'll give him Fibonacci. "You know that helping you means I'm also part of the prison break, right?" Abruzzi says. When Abruzzi asks for the date and time to arrange the plane, Scofield says he'll wait and see if Abruzzi can be trusted. Lincoln's son visits him in prison. Lincoln asks the guard to remove all the shackles since he's meeting his son, and it's only for 10 minutes in the visiting room. The guard removes them, since it's just 10 minutes. Lincoln tells his son that family is the most important thing in life, especially blood relatives, particularly for someone like him who's near death. His son and brother are the most important. Through the wire mesh, touching hands, he tells his son he wants him to be there on the day he dies. Veronica, overwhelmed with casework, meets her boyfriend at a restaurant and tells him she wants to postpone their wedding. But he says it's best to break up completely, and they separate right then and there. When the area is clear, Scofield takes out a small Allen wrench hidden between book pages to open the toilet. Before he can finish unscrewing, his cell door opens and Bellick appears. Bellick tells Scofield he has a new cellmate, a volunteer from the psychiatric ward. Bellick warns Scofield never to make eye contact with his new cellmate, Haywire. This is where Scofield, who wants to break out of prison, meets the crazy Haywire. The next day, Scofield talks to his brother and says the new cellmate is problematic. While they're talking, a guard tells the two brothers to separate by 10 feet since they're too close to the fence. Kellerman and his two agents bring Letitia to a car trunk, take her to the woods, and Kellerman orders his agent to dispose of her. While his agent hesitates, Letitia tries to escape, but Kellerman follows and shoots her in the head himself. Letitia Barris dies in her attempt to reveal the truth. Thinking Haywire is asleep, Scofield tries to open the toilet, but hears a sound. When he turns around, he sees Haywire staring at him with wide eyes. When Scofield asks what's wrong with him, Haywire says he has neurological dysfunction due to brain injury. When asked what that means, he answers that because of this condition, he never sleeps. Scofield is left speechless and troubled. That's the end of episode 3. We'll continue presenting this series daily until the end, so please like and subscribe to the Cinema Essentials channel. Thank you all for watching until the end.